sports are back, and that also means that HDCast is back. Hello everybody, welcome back to HDCast episode 14. I'm your host, Hector Delgado Jr. And on today's episode of HDCast, we're going to be talking about my first impressions of the return of major sports here in the US. I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, the watching of the game, and I also talk about the future and what's going to come up for this new era of sports. So first, we're going to talk about the bad of sports returning, specifically with the MLB and the NFL. And in the MLB, we've had two major outbreaks of COVID-19 with the Marlins and the Cardinals, with almost half their rosters testing positive for COVID-19. And this has led to some cancellations and has led to many games being postponed. And with that being said, it has also sparked rumors of maybe just canceling the season, because this was one of the worst case scenarios that could happen, teams having outbreaks of COVID and spreading it to other teams. So far, that hasn't seemed to happen. Reports have said that not many other teams have contracted COVID after playing them, so that is a positive, and that's probably due to the social distancing nature of the game. No one's really close to each other that often. But continue with the negatives. With baseball, some of the teams have struggled out the gate, specifically my Diamondbacks. They've played better as of late, but their timing has been off in hitting, pitching is struggling, and the commentators and a lot of reporters are suspecting that it's due to the awkward timing of the season and how it hasn't played out very well and as normal. So that timing and that sense of normalcy has really disrupted their game. And lastly, in the negatives, in my opinion, the NFL has done next to no plan that has substantially going to change the way they've operated for the season. And what I mean by that is that they're still going to be traveling as normal. They're still going to be in the same venues as normal, not like a bubble and like UFC or the NBA have done. And we've seen how that can go wrong, especially with the MLB. And I just don't think I've seen anything from the NFL that substantially said we care about our players' safety and their health. So that's really the negative so far returning to sports in the US. And now we're going to talk about the positives. So on to the good. So with the good, we have the UFC, the Top-Rank Boxing, and of course the NBA. Starting off with the UFC and Top-Rank Boxing, they are the first major sports in the US to returning months ago actually. They're utilizing bubbles to have their live sporting events, and both have done a fantastic job of quarantining, testing, and getting very few positive COVID results. And so they're the first ones to really step up and handle this pandemic in a proper way. But the best league to do it so far has been the NBA, in my opinion. They have done it on a much larger scale than I think Top Rank or the UFC, and they have been the picture-perfect example on how to handle this pandemic. So they have had no positive tests so far. They have daily testing, they have proper social distancing, proper quarantining if you break any of these rules, which Lou Williams did, and a few other players have broken it, and they quarantined them immediately. And also, everybody's wearing masks and just taking this very seriously in general, which is why, like I said, they have had no positive tests and they have handled this so well. And lastly, in the good, like I did touch on, the MLB has struggled early on, but the MLB is attempting to tighten the rules in terms of wearing masks and social distancing, saying that team officials are going to enforce masks more strictly. And I've seen that so far in a couple games. As to where I was seeing a few players in the dugouts not wearing masks, the last couple games I've seen that been enforced a little bit better. So far that is the good and what we have so far. I'm going to talk about my personal opinion on the viewing experience so far in the return of sports. So in terms of watching the game, baseball itself hasn't really changed too much. They're staying in the same venues like they have before, in their normal arenas in their proper cities, unlike the NBA, which they have a designated bubble with one specific court that they all play on. So that has helped watching the game in an immersive feel and keeping things normal. And in terms of pumping in crowd sounds, which some teams have been doing in person at the games and on the TV broadcast, it's not as weird as I thought it would be. Honestly, they've done a pretty good job of just making it sound normal when things are really energetic, turning up the crowd sounds when things are quiet, turning them down. So it really hasn't been as weird as I thought it would be. Honestly, didn't even notice the first few games, and it didn't really bother me too much. As for the NBA, for better or for worse, it's not really that different. It's still really, really good. It is a different environment, like I mentioned, but I really like it as it is. We've seen some of the most competitive games that we've seen this season, and I've seen people kind of compare it to like an AAU tournament, where like you see all the players there and like all the players are watching each other, and we've seen just some really high level basketball, and there's really nothing else they can focus on. It's just basketball. They can't really go out and see their families or go out and do, endorsement deals or whatever. It's just purely basketball in the bubble, and I think that's why it's been so good so far in terms of quality of actual basketball. The viewing experience really isn't different. The virtual fans are cool. The court is cool. It's really nothing too crazy, nothing too different. I've enjoyed it personally, and I'm looking forward to see what changes in the future. So in terms of the future, I'm just excited to see what goes on in the NBA playoffs. Are we going to see more intensity? Because like I said, the basketball product has been really good so far, but there's just something different about playoff basketball intensity. So we'll see how that looks, and are they going to do court changes, maybe to make the court feel a little more lively during the playoffs with some playoff vinyls on the court, or even NBA finals when we get there. I'm excited to see that, see what they do there. Like they used to put finals stuff on the court before. They stopped doing that recently, so maybe this will be the return of that, but we'll see there. And with baseball, I just hope they can reel it in, and I hope that the Marlins and the Cardinals are just the exception rather than normal. I hope that the rest of the season just finishes strong, not too many COVID cases, and that everything just kind of finishes as according to plan. And in terms of the NFL, I just want to see some changes. I want to see Roger Goodell make some kind of motion to show that he cares for these players and cares for them. I still haven't seen it so far, and knowing Roger Goodell and his record so far, I don't really think he's going to, but it's all stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing in the future, and when it happens, I'll make videos about it and talk about it. And as usual, I do have a question of the video for you guys. This one's a really simple one. I want to know what you guys think about the return to sports. Have you guys enjoyed it so far? Is there anything that it can improve on? Is there anything that you haven't liked so far, that you really like so far? Just let me know down in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. Me personally, I have been dying for sports, and I've missed it desperately. And with sports being back, I could not be happier. So that's my opinion, and just let me know in the comments what you guys think. So with all that being said, guys, that is going to be the end of the video. And with sports returning, hopefully I can push out some content for you guys. I know I've missed making videos, and with sports being back, it's going to be a lot easier. If you guys are excited to watch those videos that I'm going to put out in the future, turn on that notification bell, subscribe if you haven't. Please, please, please share the video. That's going to help me grow. It's going to help the channel grow, help me stay motivated, and just give me a like, give me comments, whatever you guys want. Just be interactive with the channel, and you guys have a great day, okay?